Yaakov has just successfully defeated an angel. And it says it was the angel of Jacob. And the angel, if you remember, he hit the thigh of Yaakov. And this caused Yaakov to limp. So there's a very interesting explanation over here. Let's see if I can get to it. From the Kli Ykar. I hope you can see this. Should be able to see it, huh? All right, the Kli Ykar. Anyway, here it is, the Kli Ykar. I'll just read it for it. So it says here. Hikalkira Nasher. So first of all, it says that let me just have to find the place. Yes, okay. So let's go back to, this is where we were, here's where we are now, and let's do these two sentences. It says, Vayomer no Yaakov. Yaakov said, okay, here. The angel hit the thigh sinew of Jacob. Taka Yerech Yaakov behavkoto. And therefore it was smitten. It was like dislocated because he was wrestling with him. What this sinew on the thigh of Jacob. And he says, send me away. The angel said, send me away because the morning has come. And he said, I'm not going to send you away until you bless me. Yaakov says to the angel, I'm not going to send you away until you bless me. So the angel says to Yaakov, okay, what's your name? And he said, my name is Yaakov. And he said, well, here's my blessing. You're not going to be called Yaakov anymore, but you're going to be called Yisrael because you've struggled with God's, you struggled with God's and with people. God's is the people that he was just fighting with, and people, which is, she says, is Aisov and Lavan. He didn't get to Aisov yet. But in any case, and you were successful. So Yaakov said, tell me, what is your name? And the angel said, what are you asking my name? And he blessed him. And Rashi, remember, learned this yesterday. He said, we don't have a set name. Our names change according to the job that we're sent to do. Okay, Yaakov called the name of this place Peniel. Why did he call it? When he made the place where he had this battle with the angel, and he called this place Peniel because he saw God face to face, and my soul was saved. In other words, he didn't defeat me. It says, I saw him face to face. Not that he saw an angel. God was revealed to him. So why is he saying God is revealing to me now? There's other places where God revealed to me. Because he fought with an angel and he defeated him. And now you have to understand what this means. An angel, it says that one angel had the power to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah. There were 5 huge metropolises and one angel destroyed them all. So how could Yaakov possibly fight with an angel? So the answer is because Yaakov was attached to God. God creates the angels. And this awakened a new power in Jacob. And the sun shined as he passed this place of Peniel, there it goes, here called Peniel. And he was limping on his thigh. And he was limping on his thigh. Okay, here we have, let's see if we can get the HaChiam over here. Here we go. He said he called it Peniel because he saw God face to face. this is what I said before, that who was he fighting with? He was fighting with the devil, Samal. We don't even say what it is, the Samach Mem. And the Samach Mem, the power of evil, the power of death, the power of destruction in the world, that's what Yaakov was fighting against. And what was the battle? The battle was this angel is called Samuel, because Sam also means to be blinded, Samui. He blinded his mind with this dust, which dust of lashon hara, of speaking badly. Now, this is the interpretation of the Kli Ykar, but it's very important. We don't know how powerful evil speech is. Evil speech is tremendously powerful, and it says it's like idolatry. I'll never forget that I lived in Bnei Brak about 40 years ago, and there was this rabbi over there, this head of this yeshiva, that he spoke bad about everybody, also spoke about the Rebbe. And he had no proof of anything, but it had a tremendous effect for evil in the world, destruction and hatred, what words can do. And this is the devil himself. The devil himself. So this is speaking negative things until you finally deny the very existence of God. You can't see the face of God. So, I mean, if you want to speak things that have some sort of a benefit, let's say there's a person who is a cheater, a liar, and someone wants to do business with him. So you can say, this person is a liar. This person is a cheater. Let's say somebody is spreading evil speech, and you say, listen, don't listen to this person. What he's saying is wrong. Okay, but still, it starts a whole battle. There's some, it says, Shomea chirpason ve'eno meshiv. It says a person that hears his shame and he doesn't say anything back. It's a very high level because it starts the ball rolling, and everybody is saying bad things about everybody else. Could be some of them are saying the truth, but you can't. The outsider doesn't know who's telling the truth or not. So it says that's what this angel was. The angel wanted to throw Yaakov into the world of speaking negatively, and that's what he meant. That I saw God face to face. Namely, he was able to, by avoiding negativity and defeating this angel of negativity and destruction. So he was able, says, to see God face to face. Namely, it's the opposite of what the devil wanted to do. That's what it means that the sun shined to him to heal him. And he was limping on this, on his thigh. So one second, it says he was limping, the sun shined, and he was limping. But we said the sun was shining and that it healed him. What does it mean that the sun shined and that he was limping? But it wants to say that by means of the sun, shining of the sun, refuah is healing. He was healed from the fact that he was limping due to this battle that he had with the negative forces of the world. And this is to wake up the eyes, his eyes of his intellect, so that he wouldn't deny the existence of God anymore. But nevertheless, Samuel did have, the devil did have some effect, that he was limping. And because of this, a little bit of his understanding became closed. Now he cannot. And because of that, as he didn't have such access to the secrets of God. And the reason was because his eyes, the eyes of the devil, were on the money of and the possessions of this world. The Lubavitcher Rebbe once said that there's a lot of reasons for anti-Semitism, but the thing that finally turns it on in the end is money. When the non-Jews, they're lacking money. So, okay, so therefore he says, this is the Kli Ykar. Rav Shlomo, Yehuda Shlomo from Lunchitz. He was a contemporary of the Maharal of Prague. So he said, therefore the Jewish people don't eat the Gid HaNashe. Yeah, I'll just tell you a very short what he says over here. It says, therefore, the Jewish people, see, let's go back to the sentence over here. It says, therefore, the Jewish people, the Jews don't eat the gida nasha. They don't eat this sinew, this hard sinew of the thigh, which is on the thigh of animals. We don't eat it until this very day, because Yaakov touched this gida nasha. What is the orach? What does the Kli Ykar say? The Kli Ykar says this gida nasha is talking about the secrets of the Torah. And the secrets of the Torah sometimes are called food. He brings up these four that went into heaven. Remember, we learned in the morning? They went into the secrets of heaven, and it's called food. But the secrets of the Torah, they can be hard. It says like gidim. They're hard like sinews, like ligaments. They can be hard. And because a person delves into the deep secrets of the Torah, he says, therefore, a person should not deal with the deep secrets of the Torah. Where is this? Let me just get this over here. Yes. Here. Okay. What's wrong? Why can't I do this? It's not working. What's going on? Why is it not working? What's going on? Oh, here we go. There. Something's wrong. It must be that this is not shining. It's not showing up on the screen. Okay, 1 second. 1 minute. 1 minute. I get it. I was just reading over there and it wasn't coming up on the screen. Let's go back here. Excuse me 1 moment. Excuse me. I don't think really there is any more, but okay. Oh. All right, now let's try it again. Okay, now here we go. Let's share after the meeting. I'm sorry for all these delays. Now it's getting into problems, making problems for me. Here we go. There we go. Oh, okay. All right. Now it should work. There we go. Therefore, the Jewish people do not eat this gida nasher, this sinew. Will this come popping up? Let us see. I hope so. Well, anyway. So he says, this is therefore, people should never, and therefore, people should not learn Kabbalistic secrets, only just special people of the generation, like Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai and other people, that they were totally, completely removed from matters of the world. Right now, this was written before Chassidut. The idea of Chassidut is that every single Jew will be able to work, to at least appreciate a little bit of the secrets of the Torah, because without that, as the Torah is very dry. But nevertheless, he says that's the idea, that the Gida Nashe, that is talking about the hard sinews, that's talking about the hard things of the Torah, namely the secrets of the Torah, because this angel hit them, so therefore the Jewish people cannot learn. And that's exactly what Chassidut accomplished, fixing up this Gida Nashe, this battle between Yaakov and the angel. Okay, let's go back to our text. Vayisa Yaakov and Aisov. Okay, so now he's finished with the angel. He finished the battle. The angel goes away. The angel gives him the news. You're going to be called Israel. Your name is going to be changed. And here it goes. Yaakov is now alone, and Yaakov lifts up his eyes, and he sees. Now remember, he sent all of these his possessions, his wives and everything. He sent it before him. So now Yaakov lifts up his eyes and he says, here it is. Aisov is coming, and with him are 400 people. So he divided up the women, the children, and Leah, and on Rachel, and the two handmaids, right? He's caught up to them, and now he caught up to them, and now he divided them all up. What do we see? That Asav had 400 people, that he saw all these gifts that he gave him. Remember, he gave him all these camels and things like that. And he said he was not pleased. Lo Yizchapru, he didn't change his mind. Asav did not change his mind. So Yaakov put the maid servants and their children first, and he put Leah and her children after that, and he put Rachel and Yosef after. Benjamin had not yet been born, of course. So he said he put Leah afterwards, and then he put Rachel the last. The later were the more dear. So he says that the children of the maid servants were dear to him, but not as much as Leah was, and Leah was not as much as Rachel. So Yaakov now goes before them, and he bows down 7 times until he got to his brother. What did he bow down 7 times for? He says, because he said, first of all, he went in front of them, because he said, if he wants to fight, so let him fight with me first. What did he bow down 7 times for? It doesn't seem to be a question to Rashi. Balaturim says, because it says 7 times a tzaddik falls down and he stands up. Because a tzaddik is a person that throws himself on God. So God usually gives him a bunch of tests. So 7 times. But then finally in the end, he stands up. So he says 7 times he's now falling down, because remember, why is this whole business happening with Asav? What does he care about what Asav does? Let Asav live his life, and he'll live his life. He says, no, he wants to try to transform Asav. He wants to try to transform it. So he's bowing down. This is in order to remove the 7 disgusting things, toivos, from Asav's heart. He wants Asav to see how willing he is to make peace. But Yaakov is also ready for war. Asav ran to meet him. He hugged him. He fell on his neck and he kissed him. Now, if you look in the Torah, you'll see that in this word, and he kissed him, there's little dots above the letters. Little dots are written over above the letters. So why did he kiss him? Because suddenly his mercy overcame him, Asav. When he saw him bow down, all these bowing downs, so he thought, wow, Yaakov is coming to me. He's putting himself in my hands. Suddenly it woke up the fact that he's my brother. And he kissed him. What does it mean he kissed him? There were nakud alav. There are little dots above these letters written in the Torah. Some people have different opinions. It says, some people say that he didn't really kiss him with all of his heart. I didn't kiss him. No. And others say, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, it's a law that Asav hates Yaakov. Non-Jews hate Jews. That's the way the world goes. But suddenly at that time, his mercy melted his anger, and he kissed him with all of his heart. So some people say that it says here, but he kissed him. So some people say the little dots don't take it literally. He didn't really kiss him. And the other one is that why are the little dots over here? Because you have a question. What's Asav kissing Yaakov for? He hates him. He wants to kill him. So he said all of a sudden he just changed his mind. That explains why he went crazy and he killed him. He kissed him. The Baal HaTurim says these little dots are over there because what Shekevan, he really wanted lenashecho. He didn't want to kiss him, but he really wanted to bite him on the neck. And he says even more, vayishakeu, that he kissed him. If you take the numerical value of all these letters, then it's venoshchehu, that he wanted to bite him. That's what Asav really wanted to do. And Shimon Bar Yochai says even more, that it's natural to assume that Asav wanted to bite him. And Asav knew that that's what Yaakov should suppose also. Yaakov wasn't a fool, but he saw that Yaakov really trusted God. And this is a whole novelty to him. And suddenly he realized, listen, I've got that potential also. I'm Yaakov's brother. Asav lifts up his eyes 1 second. Here we go. Asav lifts up his eyes and he sees the women and the children, and he says, "Who are these to you?" And the children said, "This is what God has given." Right? He asked the children, and the children here he asked if these are your children, or maybe they're just servants in the house. What's going on? That's what he said. Who are these people? The Ramban said that he asked the women. He asked about the women and he asked about the children. The children said that God gave Yaakov. Why? He lo ratza lomar she'em nashav. He didn't want to say that these are my wives. He didn't want to say it. And Asav understood that these must be the children. This must be their mothers. Okay. The maidservants, they approached Asav, they and their children, and they bowed down. Then came Leah and her children, and they bowed down. And afterwards came Yosef and Rachel, and he bowed down. Why does all of them says that Leah, the women were first, and then their children. Here it says that the child was first, Yosef. Why was he first, says Rashi? And all of them, it says that the women were first, the maidservants and Leah. But with Rachel, Yosef said, "I'm going to go first before my mother. My mother is very beautiful. Maybe Asav will put his eyes on her, and I'll stand in front of her, and therefore he won't be able to look at her." From here, because of this, Yosef, he merited to the blessing of Ale Ayin, that he was above any sort of evil eye. Okay, Asav said, "Who are all these people that I'm meeting?" And they said, and Yaakov said, "This is only to find grace in your eyes. I'm doing it, the whole thing belongs to you." Here he says that the thing that Asav had these 400 men, and that Yaakov came and he had angels. And the angels were smiting Asav's men. And they said, who are you? Right? The angels said to the men of, and they said, "We belong to Asav, we're Asav's men." And the angels were saying, beat them. And they said, "Hey, let us alone. We're coming to make peace. Stop beating us." You know what? It didn't work. We said we're Asav. We're the possessions of Yitzchak's son. Asav was Yitzchak's son. Didn't pay any attention. They kept beating them. They said, "Listen, we're the grandson. We're the possession of the grandson of Abraham." Asav was the grandson of Abraham. They kept beating them. The angels kept beating these 400 men. And they said, "Listen, we belong to the brother of Yaakov." Oh, then they stopped. If so, they said, "Oh, you're one of us." So that's what Asav said. Who are these people? What's going on over here? Asav said, 1 second. So he said, "Yes, it's only to find grace in your eyes. In other words, I want to give you a gift." That's what he's saying. Yaakov said, "I'm interested in giving you a gift." Asav said, "Listen, I've got a lot already, my friend. You keep what you've got." He said, "You keep what you've got." Yaakov understood means that also the blessings that he got before, you keep what you got. Kan Hodah, here, Asav agreed to the blessings that Yaakov received. The blessing that you stole from my father, I agree that they belong to you. The HaChiam has not the HaChiam, the Kli Ykar has a whole explanation of this, that Asav said, "I have a lot, my brother. You can take what," he explains that it's talking about that Yaakov was offering Asav back the blessings. "I stole them from you, I admit." And when he saw the humility of Yaakov, that's what changed his mind. Yaakov said, "Please, if I find grace in your eyes, take my gift from me, because that's seeing your face is like seeing the face of God, and he is pleased with me." This is where Yaakov said, "Take all the blessings back. I'm willing to give it to you." So it says, what? Tartzeni, "Please take my blessing that I brought to you, because God has pleased me, and given all these riches, and he took. Asav took. He didn't take the blessings back, even though they said, but Asav was only thinking of physical terms. So he took all of the camels and all the other things that he was offering him. Yaakov also said, Yeshli call, I have everything that I need. And Asav said, I have a lot, but it's not what I need. Says Asav, he spoke in a way of haughtiness. I've got a lot, more and more and more, right? Give me more. I want more. I have a lot and I want more. And Yaakov said, I've got everything. I don't need any more. What I've got is enough for me. And so Asav says, let's travel together and we'll be equal. Huh? I forgive you. Let's go together. And Yaakov said, listen, I know that my children, the children over here, I got a lot of children in these tribes, the Shvatim, the tribes, the sons of my wives and the maidservants. The children, some of them are young and they're delicate, and the sheep and the cows require a lot of care, right? I have to take them little. If I push them too much, they'll all die. So he said, you know what? You go in front of me and I will travel slowly according to the speed of the work that I have to do, according to the work that I do and the children. And then I will meet up with you in Seir. Seir. Now, Asav, he lived in this place called Seir. And this place in Seir, it says, Yaakov said, Hirchiv lo at derech. He gave him a long way because he knew that Asav could change his mind any moment. Really, Yaakov had no intention with going until Sukkot, but he said, I'm going to come. I'll meet you in this place called Seir. If you want to do any bad, then I'll wait. And then Yamtin, he'll have to wait until I go by him. Right? I didn't say when I'm going to meet you up, when I'm going to meet you by Seir. I'm going to go to this place called Sukkot, we'll see. And I'll stay there. And therefore, he didn't go. When will he go? I mean, he gave his word he was going to meet him in Seir. He said, I will, but I didn't say when. It says in the days of the Moshiach, he's going to meet him. Yaakov will meet. Like it says, V'olum Moshiim B'Har Tzion Lishpot et Harisav. Says that those who were saved will come from the mountain of Zion and they'll judge the mountain of Asav. It's a prophecy of Ovadia. And there's a lot of also other midrashim on this subject also. So Yaakov was telling the truth. I'm going to meet you. When I'm going to meet you, and now you've got the upper hand, Asav. But in the days of the Mashiach, I'm going to meet you, and then I'll have the upper hand, and then you join with me. Asav said, I'll give you some of the people that are with me. And Yaakov said, why do I want to do this? Well, why do you want to do this? Just to find favor in my eyes? I'm doing okay. Right? Tasid litova, I don't need these people. Right? You don't have to pay me anything for what, no, I'm giving you all these camels and things like that. Asav went on his way to Seir. So what do we see? This amazing meeting between Yaakov and Asav. It should have been very violent, but suddenly something happened to Asav, and he sensed that in the end, Asav, which represents all the nations of the world, that they're all going to come just to worship the one God. Yaakov went to this place, Sukkot, and he bought and he built for himself a house, and for his sheep, he built booths. In other words, Yaakov, for his possessions, were all temporary by him. But for himself, in other words, his service of God was the main thing. That's why the place was called Sukkot. For his possessions, he just built these temporary buildings called Sukkot. Yaakov came to the city of Shechem. We're going to see that Shechem is going to be later on. That's in the land of Canaan. When he came from Paran, and Vayichan et Penei Ha'ir, and he camped in the face of the city. and he purchased part of the city, which was there, from Hamor, who was Avi Shechem. We're going to see there's going to be trouble for him soon. And he bought a little portion of this place of Shechem. He bought it for a price mea ksita. Rabbi Akiva said, when I went to the cities in the other side of the ocean, they were calling a coin a mea, they were calling kasita. Okay, so this is one of the three places where it says clearly in the Torah that the Jewish people own, which is Jerusalem and Hebron and Shechem, Jewish people. And interestingly enough, those are the three places that according to the government of Israel, a Jew cannot live. A Jew can't live in Shechem. I mean, he can live there for a few minutes and then he won't live there long. And Hebron, the same thing, even though things are changing. And it said, this is the last sentence I want to bring over here. And it says, Vayatzev Sham Mizbeach, that Yaakov built an altar and he called to it El Elokei Yisrael, the God of Israel, the God, the kind God, the God of Israel. Okay, so it says it's not that the altar was called by the name of El Yisrael, but because of the miracle that happened over here. But he brings something very interesting. The rabbis learn in the Gemara Megillah that God, he called Yaakov El. God said, "You are El." It says the words of Torah are like a hammer, and there's all the different explanations that hit a hammer that hits like an iron, and all these sparks come out. So all these different interpretations are all valid. But let's see, the HaChiam says like this. He says the rabbi said that God called, this is the Kli Ykar, that God called Yaakov El, Vayikra, and he called Lo to him. The simple meaning is that Yaakov called to the name of the altar, but it doesn't say that. It just says, and he called him El, the God of Israel. So it says that God, called Yaakov El. The reason is because Yaakov said, I'll give everything I have, I'll give 1/10 to God. So therefore, God gave him back 1/10. Now it says every tzaddik will inherit 310 worlds. Some Kabbalistic thing, 310 worlds. So Yaakov gave a 1/10 of 310 is 31. 31 is El, that's his name. That God called him El, this is the 31. Okay, that's what he said. So therefore he called him it. So I'll finish with a very short story. There was once a story about the Tzemach Tzedek that in Russia, the Russian government always made trouble for the Jews. The Russian government, this is before the Tsar came. This is before the communism came, before the Tsar fell. So the Tsar, he fell like in the end of totally fell. This is like near the end of the fifth Rebbe of Chabad, the Russian Revolution. But here we're talking about the third Rebbe of Chabad. So the third Rebbe of Chabad had trouble also from the Tsar. And the thing of the Tsar, they were devout Russian Orthodox, a type of Christianity. And it was much more intellectual. And I don't really understand that religion so much, but it's much more dependent on the individual, however it goes, and intellect. Anyway, so there was one Jew that became an apostate. His name was Stern. And he somehow or other instigated the government should close down the Jewish printing presses because they were saying bad things about the Jews. There's a lot of stories about this also. This particular story, so they called in three Jews. They called in this guy Stern. They called in the third Rebbe of Chabad, and they called in Rabbi Yitzchak of what's his name? I forgot his name. Volozhin. So the minister said, I say we should close all these, we should ban all these Kabbalistic books. Let's take a vote. So the minister he voted against. This guy Stern, he voted for destroying all the Kabbalistic books. Stern also voted for it. The Alter Rebbe and Rav Chaim Volozhin. No, there was another person there. The Alter Rebbe and another Jew called Halperin. They voted that you should leave it. And the rabbi of Volozhin, he was neutral. So he didn't want to vote. So the minister said, okay, it's 50-50. There's me and the Stern are for destroying all the Kabbalistic books. You two are against. One person is sustaining. Therefore, I'm going to take that sustain and being on our side, and we'll be destroying all the books. Tomorrow, we'll make a revote. So the Tzemach Tzedek walked back from the place. He walked back to the hotel room, and he told the person that was with him, let's take a long route. They'll go through the park. So they went through the park, and in the park, there were a lot of, sort of not nice things there, but anyway, and there was this fellow Stern, sitting there smoking a cigarette. It was on Shabbat, sitting and smoking a cigarette on Shabbat. The Alter Rebbe went up to him and said, tell me, do you believe in heaven and hell? And he did not believe in heaven and hell. This Stern didn't believe in anything. Suddenly Stern looked at him in his face, at the Rebbe, and he said, yes, I do. So he said, listen, if tomorrow we vote and you vote against destroying the books, then I promise you a place in heaven. Do you accept? And he said, okay. And he shook his hand. And he said, but I want to ask you two questions. Stern. What are the two questions? Question number one is, do you know that scientists discovered, you say everything is in the Torah. Scientists just discovered that roses grow from dew. So where is this in the Torah? So he said that the Tzemach Tzedek said there's a midrash, and the midrash took a sentence from Shir HaShirim, and it says it's like the dew to the roses. He said that this comes to show that roses grow from dew. This was written 1,000 years ago. So he said, okay, that's a good answer. I want to ask you another question. If God is infinite, can he create another God? And the Rebbe said, yes, and he did. And he brought this sentence from this week's Torah portion. And he said, Vayikra lo, I'm sorry. Where is this? Here it says, here it is. Here. Vayikra lo, and he called to him, that God called to him, called to Yaakov, Kel. God called to Yaakov, Kel. And this is the thing which no human being can possibly understand. That's what he said. It's impossible for any human being to understand this. And the next day, sure enough, this Stern, he voted against destroying the books, and that the book should be left alone. And they said he went home immediately and he made his kitchen kosher, and he lived as a religious Jew to the end of his life. So we see that we don't understand God. We don't understand who was Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. But what we do understand is that the world has to be fixed up, and God can do it, and that he will do it. Have a good day with Moshiach. Now, God willing, we'll see each other tomorrow at 8:15 in the morning.